First of all, my heart goes out to the families here in America who have lost loved ones during this conflagration taking place in the Middle East. Reports are that we've lost at least three service people and two injured, but it could be higher. Iran claims that they've killed over 500 American service personnel. Now they exaggerate. We don't get the straight story from our government either. So we're kind of in the midst of the fog of war here in the US, where we are safe. Last night there was what has been termed a terrorist attack in Austin. Several more people were killed. This was apparently someone from Senegal, but from what I've heard on news reports, there are indications of some of literature on the person that would be indicative of terrorist activities, sympathies, leanings. We should be aware that Iran fights an asymmetrical war. That means all of our loved ones here in America and abroad are now at risk for sleeper cell terrorist attacks. So if you're like me and you have your flock spread out across this vast land or even across the planet, urge your friends, your loved ones, your kids, your partners to be extra careful about where they gather now. Okay. I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but something happened. So I'm not trying to freak you out. I'm just saying be really careful. That's sort of what I do because I wrote the book, Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins. And that's about protecting your loved ones too from things that you might not be expecting or thinking about, but that I know about. So I'm telling you things to keep you alive, healthy, and safe. This is a war. Silly Lindsey Graham was asked, is this a war, Senator Graham? And he said, well, I think the Ayatollah would call it a war. Well, what do you call it? Apparently, this is not just about the nuclear production that was supposedly obliterated in June, but now we are told by some spokespeople for the Orange Blob administration that, in fact, Iran was weeks away from producing nuclear materials, has new intentions, but then they switched the goalpost to regime change. And so, this is the second time for Iran where they say they've been negotiating in good faith, and Trump has attacked them during the middle of the negotiations. I am an American. I don't need to wave a flag. Don't mind doing it, but I love this country. But this president is really effed up. There are also a lot of things going on here at home. More people are being injured by his neglect. Just think about it. He still hasn't provided disaster relief funds to North Carolina or California. He stole the voting records from Fulton County, Atlanta. You know what he's going to do with them? I mean, this is all over the internet now. Lev Parnas brought it to light first, as far as I can tell. Let me point it out. They're going to make this a Chinese operation in 2020 and say we need to take over the voting records for other states, counties. We need to cancel mail-in voting. Now, this is not legal via the Constitution, that quaint document that we live by. But when has that ever stopped the Orange Blob? Okay, so you got to be aware of this too. In other words, we are definitely chewing gum and walking at the same time. We are running, we are walking, we're doing it all at once because we don't have any choice as the citizen of this country who have better brains than many of our elected officials and are smarter and wiser. But thousands of people have died or been injured by glyphosate or Roundup. These are innocent folks like gardeners, farm workers, people who have just used Roundup and believed it was safe based on what evidence? The EPA wasn't accurate. Bayer lied. They've had their studies retracted, or Monsanto, whoever funded the studies at the time.